So today I'm going to update you on something I've never really talked about. I think it's definitely a problem with me for sure, and I don't know how this is going to go. And I'm not going to even do any kind of intro with fancy music or anything like that. I'm just going to talk today, and I won't edit anything unless I call for sneeze. I'll edit that out. But otherwise, if there's some pauses, it means I'm just thinking about like what's really going on here and why am I having this issue? And maybe you can relate to it. I don't know. Maybe in some way you can relate, and maybe you've had this issue too, or maybe you can give me some of your advice. So I want to make it very clear because I just did an episode for you on Wednesday that I was in Hawaii, and I realized how great my life is. And it's true. I don't want to downplay that because my life has been really, really good since I began microdosing mushrooms about 3.5 years ago. And my depression is pretty much gone, no anxiety. I mean, everything's really good. But that doesn't mean I don't have issues and problems. And one thing I want to share with you today is, and God, I don't even know how to say this. It's going to come across as so weird, but here it goes. I'm going to just share it anyway. I've never talked about this. So when I and one way I can lead into this is when I started this show about I don't know, about 3 years ago. My goal was to share my journey, my microdosing journey, and my mental health journey with other people out there, because I knew that if I was going through these things, um, depression and anxiety, and then trying to figure out a way to stop it or mitigate it or lessen it or whatever, I knew other people were too, and I found the answer, and it really worked well, and I wanted to share it with the world, and so I started this podcast first on YouTube, and it was going really, really well. And this is kind of back in the early days of microdosing, and maybe there were not a lot of things on microdosing mushrooms on YouTube at all. And YouTube was a lot of people were getting the videos, and thousands of people sometimes were thousands listening to watching each episode. And man, I was like in heaven. This is great because I always said, like, if I could help one person, that's all I wanted to do was just change one life. But if I helped more than one, that was even better. So then it got to a point where, and I was getting just a lot of interaction. It was great. Then it got to a point where YouTube somehow got a hold of or figured out that Dr. Dave is talking about drugs that are illegal. And they slammed my channel. I mean, I got like strikes against me. I got all kinds of weird stuff. So I just, and at the same time, I was starting to put stuff out on audio podcasts like Apple and Spotify, and that was going really, really well. So it got to the point where I said, "Well, screw YouTube. YouTube. I'm not going to play their game. If they don't want my content, then I'm not going to do any more videos. It's okay." So everything went to audio, and audio just kept growing and growing, and I was loving it because, again, I always said, like, help one person, you made my day. But if I help many, many people, that's even so much better. And the word was spreading. But then, like, a weird thing happened, and YouTube started showing a lot of my old videos, like, in people's feeds, and that started growing again. And this is going to be very weird. I don't even know how to say this, but I got like kind of like addicted to looking at the stats. I would look at my audio stats. How many people listen today? And then the YouTube, because YouTube started coming back, and I started putting new episodes out on YouTube video, and that started coming back. But it's funny, the old episodes were the ones getting so many views, and the newer episodes were getting just like a handful. But I still wanted to put out new content on YouTube because I figured, okay, one day these episodes will be older, and maybe YouTube will put these into people's feeds. I didn't know, but so I'm doing both. But the more, like, I guess, OCD I started getting about looking at statistics every day. How many people watched? How many people listened? How many people unsubscribed? things like that. And it started getting to a point where I thought it was very unhealthy. And as much as I do love, I truly love making these podcast episodes, whether it's video or audio, and I'm doing both right now. Like if you're watching this on YouTube, it's also going to be on Spotify and Apple as an audio podcast. So I love it. However, the more time that went by, the more addicted and OCD I got, and still am at obsessing over stats. And if I see like a downward trend, I start feeling horrible. Like nobody's listening anymore. Nobody's watching anymore. And it spirals into like this OCD of like checking stats all the time. Now, I'm not proud of that at all, but I wanted to share it with you because I want to be totally, totally transparent, honest, that you're listening or watching somebody that's going through struggles just like you are. And then I started thinking, this is my personality. I've been like this. It's not just podcast stats. I've been like this for as long as I can remember, checking the stock market. The daily swings in the stock market mean nothing. They don't mean anything. It's always a gradual increase, and it could go down, 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 and then up, but it's always a gradual increase over time. But that doesn't sit well with my brain, and my brain is always like just checking this, checking that. How many likes did I get on a certain post or anything? And that's I'm here to say that I admit all this still goes on with me. I know it's not healthy. And I'm wondering, can the mushrooms help me with this? They've helped me so much through depression and anxiety, so much rewired. I totally feel like a different person, but in some regards, like obsessing and being OCD over things like statistics. And I remember even during COVID, when before there was a vaccine, and before we thought we would get COVID and die. There's a good, we thought, okay, if I get COVID, there's a good chance I'm going to die. Back in the very early days of it, I would obsess over the stats. Like I would check the Utah stats every day. Is it going up or is it going down? Am I going to die? Oh, it's going down a little bit, so I'm going to be okay. And then like a month later, oh, it's going up. I'm going to probably die. This is not easy for me to talk about, to admit, but it's there. It's not good. In some way, I definitely need help with this. And I will ask the mushrooms to help me along this issue now and problem. I will journal. I'll do whatever it takes. I don't think it's going to be a simple fix. And the mushrooms have done so much for me already. I mean, is it okay to even ask them to do more? But this is definitely like, I don't know if you call it like a demon or something that's in my DNA that is very tough to shake. And if I see downward trends, like I know, look, you're right now, you're watching me or listening to me, and I love that. And I always say, and if you're the only one that's listening or watching, and I change your life, then that's all I need. But is it? I don't know anymore. I don't know how much I need. I mean, I don't need it because my life is okay, and I don't do it for the money because financially I am okay now. I'm okay. So I don't, it's not like I have to do this and have to be pressured to bring a certain amount of money in from people because I need to put food on the table. That's not it. It's not a money thing at all. It's more of is it ego? Is it pride? Is it like if I'm doing this and I'm helping people with their lives, why aren't more people noticing this? Why can't I help more people? There are other channels out there that are helping so many more people. Why can't I? It's a struggle. It's absolutely a struggle. I should be happy. I should be happy that I have you just watching me or listening to me today, and that would be fine. And it is fine. And I'm so appreciative and thankful that you are. So why do I need more? Why do I need more and more? I really don't. I know I don't. I know that my life would be the same if I had 100 people following me or 100,000. My life would not change at all. I'd be the same person. So why do I feel that having 100,000 would be more fulfilling for me? Why do I feel that way? I shouldn't. I know inherently I shouldn't feel that way, but that doesn't help. Again, my DNA. It's very hard to. I don't think we can change what's in our DNA so easily, or can we? Our DNA is really strong and it's programmed to have us act in certain ways. Like, for example, this is a crazy example, but it's the first one that comes to my mind. Like sexual drive. And I'm not talking about me, but I'm talking about just an average, regular person, just anybody. It could be anybody, nobody. I mean, anybody, John Doe or Jane Doe, just a fictitious person. We as human beings are programmed to have a sexual drive. I think we could eat all the mushrooms in the world and work on say I don't want to have a sexual drive anymore. I don't want to feel like I need to have sex, but I don't know if that would work because it's so ingrained in our DNA for we need to reproduce and keep the the race or the species going. Not the race, that wouldn't be the right word because there are many races within the species. We need to keep the species going. So it's like burned into our DNA that we need to do certain things. And I don't think we could say like I'm just going to stop doing that. It's not so easy. So it's you know if you're going to comment to me, hey Dave, just stop obsessing over it. I mean, yeah, I get it. That's easy to say, and I do believe that's what I need to do, but it's not it's not so easy in practice. And sometimes it can ruin my day. I can look and see, well, oh my God, my stats from yesterday were horrible. Like nobody likes me anymore. They were just god awful, horrible. And it has ruined days. I mean, it's very weird for me to talk about this because I've never shared this. Never shared it. And I don't know whether other people have the same issue or not. I don't talk about it a lot. I don't even think my own wife knows that I obsess over statistics. I don't think she knows that. I don't think anybody knows. Maybe except other than maybe I don't know, maybe I've shared it with one or two or three people that maybe if that. But it's an issue. And again, it's not just podcast statistics, but it's the stock market. And I don't need here's the thing, it's not like I need the stock market to go up, up, up to put food on my table because I am okay. I'm all right. I mean, I'm not wealthy, but I have enough. And it's something that I came to this conclusion. I think I talked to you about this a couple of years ago when I was sitting waiting for a concert to start in Las Vegas, and I was by myself, and I definitely used some plant medicine, and I came to a bunch of realizations that my life is exactly where I want it to be. And one of the things was I have the right amount of money. I'm not wealthy, but I'm not poor. I have enough that I need to be honest with myself before making a purchase. I can't just go out and buy anything. But on the other hand, I'm okay. So I don't need to be watching the stock market every day to make sure that I have enough. I don't need to be doing that. But again, it's an obsession. It's an obsession that I've got. And I think it's in my DNA. I was always like that when I was really into marketing for my business and sending out like a sales letter, a sales piece, or an email or something like that that people need to respond to. I was really obsessive about checking the statistics about how everyone did, how each letter did, if this one did better than the other, and that's part of marketing and that's important. But I think I was over the top obsessing over it too much, and that's not good. And that's probably one of the things that led to my downfall. Why I wanted to get out of the business, because it just became too much. So what am I going to do about this? I don't really have the answer right now. One thing I can say to myself is, whenever I pick up my phone, instead of checking the stats for something, instead of checking my stats in some way, I'm going to go on and I'm going to do a little Japanese lesson, because that's what I need to do. And sometimes checking the stats of things gets in the way of other things I need to do. And that's not good, because that means there's a problem. So it's tough, but I wanted to share this with you because I wanted to come clean and share that Dr. Dave is not, he's not a perfect human being that has no issues anymore. He's not. He's got real issues, and you know, yeah, I have them. They're there. They're real, and sometimes they really hurt. So tell me what you think, please. This would okay. This would really help me, and this is not an obsession over statistics or anything like that. But it would really help me if you tell me if you like this type of an episode better than here's how to microdose, because I can do either. I this is more fulfilling to me, talking about like real life issues and real problems. I share with you, when we got kicked out of our house and how that really hurt for a month until we found something else. It hurt really badly, and my days sometimes were horrible. I can't even tell you how bad sometimes. And again, you might say, well, that's trivial. You got, your landlord didn't extend your lease, but you could find something that, yeah, that's true. And maybe it was trivial, but when you get kicked out of a house that you've been in for 5+ years, and you've like kind of got friends all around here, when you get kicked out, that's not a good feeling at all. And it really hurt me a lot. So yeah, in general, my life is great. And everything I share with you from the Hawaii video, if you didn't see that, it was just 2 days ago, just Wednesday. Just check it out, because it's all true. I'm really thankful for my life. I'm truly thankful. But that doesn't mean that I don't have issues. It doesn't mean that. So please let me know what you think of this type of video or audio. If you're listening to audio, either way is fine. Let me know what you think. Do you want me to do more? Do you want me to go deeper? I can go as deep as you want, because trust me, there's a lot of stuff out there. Okay, thank you so much for listening or watching or both. And I will see you in the next episode. Remember, I put an episode out every Wednesday and Friday. Sometimes Mondays I do something, but I'm actually I don't know. I might want to get away from the Mondays. It does start to get to be too much pressure to put 3 out every week. It's a lot. It could be too much. So I'm not saying I'm not going to do Mondays, but Wednesdays and Fridays are guaranteed. And let's take it from there. Okay. Love you for listening. I really do. Thanks. Look, I can use help sometimes too. I'm not the be all end all when it comes to mental health and who figured everything out. I figured a lot out, but I've not figured everything out. Okay. I'll stop. I'll stop now. Talk to you soon.